Mark Littlewood joins me to talk about all of this, Director of Popular Conservatism, a mainstream right-wing group within the Conservative Party. Mark, great to have you on the show. Why is this such a terrible move, according to the Conservative Party and a lot of their supporters in the press?
Well, I think it depends, Ben, a bit on your starting point. I listened to yours with great interest, that you said this would be the sort of thing you would like your taxpayer money to go on.
Yeah.
And in fact, you would be willing to contribute even more.
I would.
Great. How much money have you given out of your discretionary income to the Child Poverty Action Group then?
I actually give quite a lot of money to charity, to be quite honest with you.
Right. Specifically on child benefit, you would like more of your money to go on child poverty. I understand that. I respect that. It's a noble position to take. So in the meantime, before your taxes go up again, could you clarify to your viewers and listeners how much money you're giving?
It's a spurious argument, Mark, isn't it? It's a spurious argument.
It's not spurious. You said you want to contribute more. You were very clear about that in your monologue.
Do you not?
How much?
Do you not?
Sorry?
You don't want your taxes to go towards children in poverty?
Well, of course I wanted to go to children in poverty, but you went rather further than that, then. You said you wanted to contribute more.
Yeah,
you were very clear about that. How much more?
I will, because I will have to pay more tax, Mark, because of
but how much beyond the tax? You said beyond the tax.
I said I am happy to pay more in my taxes towards... I'd be happy to pay quite a bit more.
Beyond your taxes, Ben. You were very clear you wanted to even higher than that.
Mark, this is so spurious.
Why is it spurious?
Because
you said it.
Because
I didn't say it. You said it.
Because what I said is I'm very happy to pay more in tax if some of that tax is going towards lifting children out of poverty. And I don't really understand
now let's get into, does it lift people out of poverty, Ben? Let's get to that, right? So do we think that taking your tax and whatever now non-disclosed contribution you're willing to make beyond that, in order to transfer that to people with kids, all kids, by the way, this will go to millionaires who've got kids, not just poor people who've got kids.
Not many millionaires claiming universal credit, though, Mark.
No, okay, but you're right. Rich people with kids. Do we think...
Rich people with kids aren't on benefits. What are you talking about?
Well, hang on. Do you think the best way of raising children out of poverty is child benefit? Do we think the welfare state is the best way of doing that? You do. I think
it's one way of doing it, for sure, yeah.
But I think I think it's been proven to be a rather bad way of doing it. Hasn't it? Because overall, child benefits are rounding error in this. I'll readily concede that. But overall, the welfare state, just in moving cash around, the sort of things that you like, apparently, Ben, that, will help children out of poverty, will help...
I do like lifting children out of poverty.
I understand that.
That is true.
It's a very, very, very noble aspiration.
Because the Mail and the Sun and the Times and the Express think I should be very angry about children being lifted out of poverty.
Well, I'm angry. I'll tell you what I'm angry about, Ben. It's that it's not working. So if you were to take the entire welfare bill, this isn't just child benefit, and divide it between every household in Britain, just us moving money from one cohort to another, it would come in at about £12,000 per household per year. That's the cost of all of our welfare benefits. How on earth is there still poverty in the United Kingdom? Because you would think most households won't need any support at all, right? So £12,000 per household per year is the welfare benefits bill. Somewhere there must be some overhead, right? How on earth haven't we cracked poverty with that sort of level of support, which you would think you would be able to focus on, I don't know, the bottom 5%, the bottom 10%, the bottom 15% of society. Even with a bill that high, I am still told there is poverty, vulnerability, families struggling in Britain. So the welfare state model we've adopted hasn't worked.
Is that the entire world? Does that include pensions? Does that include pensions, Mark?
It does. It does include pensions.
There's the answer to your question, isn't it? Because quite a lot, about half of our welfare bill goes on pensions, a lot of which goes to people who are
£6,000 per household per year.
Exactly. Yeah, and not many people could live off £6,000 per household per year.
Well, it's not living off it.
Well, it is. If you haven't got another income.
We presumably expect, Ben, don't we, the overwhelming majority of households to stand on their own 2 feet. That's presumably what we expect. Some won't be able to do so. Some might hit temporary problems. There might be accidents or disasters. But overwhelmingly, we expect people to stand on their own 2 feet. Do you agree?
Yeah, and people who can do.
Right.
But there's a lot of...
Hold on. We've now got £6,000 per household to spend, in which you presumably agree that the top 80% don't need it. So this is a colossal amount of money. Why haven't we cracked poverty?
You think £6,000 a year is a colossal amount of money, Mark?
Well, that assumes that household is... Hang on.
Could you live on £6,000 a year?
That assumes that household earns...
All right, if you lost your job, Mark, and you didn't have any savings, if you were made redundant... No, hold on, if you were made redundant...
Respect, you're not doing the maths.
I'm doing
Most households don't require it. So we focus that on the bottom 10%.
Could you live on it?
£60,000 per household per year. £60,000.
You're not answering my question. If you had 3 children, you lost your job, you had no other sorts of income, could you live on £6,000 a year?
Well, no.
Of course you couldn't.
But that's
so
why I've saved money. It's why I've chosen not to have children, because I didn't have money at the time to be able to raise them. So I've made my own personal decisions about that. The idea that we're just going to subsidise every lifestyle choice...
But we're not,
because
losing your job or getting cancer or being made redundant, they're not lifestyle choices, That's why the welfare state exists.
Right, so how much... What would persuade you that the welfare state wasn't working very well? So if we knock out state pensions, it's £6,000 per household per year, which we're presumably focusing on the bottom 10%, enabling us to give them £60,000 per household per year. What do you think might be going wrong in the system here, Ben? Or do you think we should just increase it to 61 or 62,000?
Mark, it baffles me. Do you dispute that this change alone will lift 450,000 children out of poverty?
I absolutely dispute that, yes.
You think that the forecasts are wrong? The independent estimates are wrong?
But we also have to be aware that we're measuring relative poverty here, right? So that's a comparison against the median person.
Yes.
So if suddenly the average person gets super rich, you and I become poor, Ben, right? Because we're suddenly behind.
No, because it's the median, not the mean. So if a small number of people get super rich, that doesn't really change the median.
Right, well,
that's how averages work.
Right, so I don't mind a world in which half of the people are billionaires and half are millionaires. But that would be a world in which you would say 50% of the people were poor. But that's not...
But what you're saying, Mark, well, the kids aren't actually... Some of them aren't actually starving. Yeah, they can't afford anything their friends have, and they go to school in a uniform that has holes in it. But, at least they have heating, maybe, if they're lucky. I mean, is that how low the bar has been set? Oh, well, it's relative poverty.
No, it's not how low the bar's been set, Ben. It's how high the bar's been set. You are telling me, with the colossal expenditure on welfareism... Not just on this issue, it's just another dial-up, to be frank.
Half our welfare budget goes on pensions, Mark. Let's just get this
well, we've already agreed that. Yeah. You are saying the other £6,000 per household per year is not enough to cure poverty in Britain.
No, not
even
for a lot of families.
You focus that on the poorest people. I think there might be a system error here, don't you think, Ben?
No.
Why haven't we eliminated poverty, given by the end of this Parliament we are going to be spending £400 billion on welfare in one of the richest countries in the world?
Mark, we would have gone a lot further to alleviating child poverty if your party, the Conservatives, hadn't kept in place for so many years this policy, this one policy that alone keeps almost 500,000 of the children that you're claiming you care about stuck in poverty. We would have gone a lot further to alleviating it.
I don't like ad hominem attacks. I want children taken out of poverty.
So why don't you support this then?
Because I don't believe this is the right mechanism of doing it.
You don't believe it will lift children out of poverty?
No.
You don't believe that giving families on benefits another £5,000 a year will have the consequence of lifting quite a lot of children out of poverty?
I think it's the worst way you could spend the money in order to...
Because on the one hand, you're saying £6,000 so much, why can't people live on it? On the other hand, you're saying a £5,000 increase in their income.
I don't think you've actually done the maths in your head. It's not £6,000.
It makes no sense, Mark.
It is £6,000 per household per year, excluding pensions.
Yeah.
Most households, you would agree, don't require support. Is that right?
Yeah, of course.
Great. So in that case, can we wipe out 90% of households and focus that bill on the bottom 10%?
Yes, absolutely.
That would be £60,000.
That's what I want to do.
Great.
That's why I support this policy.
Why do you think with that per household amount a year, the system's going wrong? And you just want to dial it up to £6,100 per household per year in the sudden belief that this will eliminate poverty. It won't.
It's not 6,000. We are talking here about lots of families who will get on average another £5,000 a year. It's not
right,
£100
so you think
difference.
that the household amount of the welfare bill is too low?
No, but you can't talk in generalities. I think for a lot of people it's too high.
Well, that's the bill.
No, hold on.
We are going to spend 400
billion. I think for a lot of people who are getting money they don't need, it's too high, namely a lot of wealthy pensioners. And for other people, family leaders are struggling, who've got 3 and 4 kids and can't pay the bills, it's too low. So you're
you're against universal support for this, then. You would want to target it just
That's what this does. Because most people aren't on universal credit.
Just on the lower end.
Yes, that's exactly what's happening.
You want to target just on the lower end.
Yes.
So an average family shouldn't receive child benefit at all.
Average families don't. It is not child benefit. We're talking about all benefits here.
The average family should receive nothing. That's your position.
Most average families aren't claiming benefits.
Hang on, 53% of households in Britain claim more in benefits than they pay in tax.
A lot of that includes pensions again, doesn't it?
Right, but
so there you go.
What do you think the percentage?
You're equating benefits.
What do you think what do you think the balance should be?
You are equating benefits that go to pensioners who often don't need them. I agree.
You are conflating that.
You are conflating that with benefits.
You think the problem with the welfare state is it's not spending enough money?
No, I don't. That's completely incorrect,
okay.
Mark.
So how much would you like to cut the bill from by 400 billion?
Because we're almost out of time. Let me answer your question. I think the welfare state right now gives far too much money to people who don't need it, generally in older generations, through things like the triple lock, and not enough money to people who do need it, including these 500,000 families who have children in poverty. And you seem to be opposed to that.
No, I'm not opposed to that. I think we might end up on the same page, Ben.
So ditch the triple lock and give more money to poor families.
We could slash the welfare bill from its 400 billion to maybe a quarter of that and direct it better.
Yeah.
You and I would be on the same page.
This is a way of doing that. I think that's what I'm saying.
Well, this is the welfare bill going up. They have not offset it with anything. They haven't got rid of the triple lock. It's just more.
Well, if
welfare,
they had, we would agree, Mark. If they ditch the triple lock...
So let's slash welfare and target it better.
Let's ditch the triple lock.
You and I are on the same page, my friend.
I've spent years arguing for, before it was popular.
Slash the welfare bill,
and direct it to where it's needed. We agree. Mark, thanks for coming on the show. We got there in the end. Mark Littlewood, Director of Popular Conservatism. Popular Conservatism, a mainstream right-wing group within the Conservative Party. What do you think? Mark says it's not the best way to alleviate child poverty. I say if my taxes go up a bit, and it doesn't solve the problem. Of course, there's still kids living in poverty. Nobody's claiming it does. But if 500,000 of them from next April won't be in poverty in the way they currently are, I don't think there's any better use for my taxes. Maybe defence of the realm. But beyond that, helping kids that are really struggling? Yep, I'm happy to pay for it. Are you not? A lot of people aren't. 03456 060 973.